Today we are making baked macaroni and cottage cheese. This recipe is from the 1940s and we've put a new modern twist on an old classic. All right, our first step is to make our pasta. Now into our pot, we have our water boiling with some salt for flavor. And now I am adding in 1 cup of macaroni, 1 cup or 8 ounces. And this is just going to boil until cooked. You want to have it al dente. Is the consistency you want. You don't want it overcooked and mushy because it's going to bake in the oven as well. So this is just going to cook, stir, keep stirring until it's all cooked. Okay, after our pasta is cooked, we're going to drain it, and then we are going to put it in a dish, a baking dish that has been buttered, and then on to the next step. All right, we're on to the next step, and our next step is frying in olive oil, 1 onion. You can either use red, white, sweet, whatever you prefer. And then I'm also adding in 3 cloves of garlic. And we are just going to saute this until it's translucent for a couple minutes. We want it nice and see-through. We don't want it overly cooked. Just a nice, nice translucent look. So just continue stirring till combined, and then when it's all sauteed, we'll move on to our next step. Okay, our next step, we're just going to push our onions over to the side because we're going to be making a thickening roux. So I'm putting in 3 tablespoons of butter, and we're just going to melt the butter. Have it melted on the side. And this is going to thicken up our sauce. And our sauce is not a traditional sauce. It's going to be tomatoes based. Okay, so we're just going to melt our butter. We're all incorporated. Can't go wrong with our creamery butter. Okay, once that's melted, we're going to add 6 tablespoons of flour. This is going to thicken, and it's going to brown. So we're going to make that into a paste. Okay, now we're going to combine the onions in. Stir the onions into the flour mixture. Okay, good. Okay, now we're on to the next step. All right, I turned off the heat on my frying pan, and I let this cool a little bit because the next step we don't want it to be cooking. So I'm adding in 1 teaspoon Italian seasoning, and then I'm going to add in 1 egg. Okay, and then just give that a quick mix because we don't want anything not incorporated well. Okay, now I'm gonna add in 1 can of diced tomatoes. Okay, and then very carefully mix that in. Okay. I say very carefully, you don't want to just have anything running over the sides of the frying pan. So give that a good mix. And then the next thing we're adding is pepper and some salt. But before that, I'm going to add in 1.5 cups of cottage cheese. Remember, this recipe is from 1940s, so we're doing a twist of it. So we're adding our cottage cheese. You could probably be adding ricotta and pepper to taste, and then also some salt. So I'm gonna add in, just sprinkle it on, about a teaspoon, half a teaspoon. So I'm using the pink Himalayan salt, and I used the pure black pepper. So I'm just gonna give this a quick mix before we go on to our next step. So you want everything kind of mixed quite well. All right, we'll be back. We're just gonna continue mixing. Okay, our next step, we have our macaroni pasta into our buttered dish. I'm using a larger one. You could use probably an 8x8, but I'm just using a larger one for today. And now I'm going to put my sauce all over the pasta. And I think this might be a very good size for this dish. Okay, so just get our sauce out. Sprinkle it. Spread it on top of our pasta. Okay, and now I'm going to top it with some cheese. I've got some mozzarella cheese or Parmesan cheese would work well. And I've got about 2 cups on the bowl. Okay, so sprinkle some cheese on top. And then we're going to get ready for the next step. Okay. Okay, on to the next step. Okay, our final step is to add buttered breadcrumbs to the top. We're just going to sprinkle that on top. And our buttered breadcrumbs are 1 cup of breadcrumbs with 1 tablespoon of butter, melted butter. And we just mixed it all up until everything's nicely combined. Now I like to sprinkle the cheese, like I said, sprinkle the cheese with the breadcrumbs on as the last step, and it's going to get nice cheesy and crispy and delicious. Okay, I'm just going to dump that in and just spread it on top. Okay, now this is going to go into the oven, a 350-degree oven, and it's going to bake for 45 minutes. All right, here's our pasta dish right out of the oven.